Imagiverse Studios presents Tales from the Horrorweb, an audio-only series based on the short stories by Gavin Pryor. Tonight's story is called Grave Peril. During the 1990s, 5 teens compete in a game show called Grave Peril, but the game show they starred in takes a deadly turn for the worse. There used to be a game show that aired on television in 1994. It was called Grave Peril, which is a horror-style game show where contestants have to escape a haunted cemetery with many obstacles and challenges to go through. It ran for over 12 episodes, but as it was airing its 13th episode, things took a deadly turn for the worst. The show had faced cancellation after an incident that occurred on May 13, 1994. No evidence of the footage from the 13th episode of Grave Peril was discovered until 26 years later, when it was found in the studio where the show had originally aired by a staff member. It was recorded on a VHS tape that was packaged in a box. It was sitting on a shelf inside the prop room. No one had ever watched the tape, so he took it home, plugged in his VCR, and inserted the tape to watch the footage. The next day, he came back to work and told the manager about what he saw in the 13th episode. He explained to him in detail about the incident while they were shooting the unaired episode. The manager said, "Well, it happened around the year 1994. When the 13th episode of Grave Peril was in production. We never quite expected this to happen, but what I am about to tell you may shock you." Friday, May 13th, 1994. 5 contestants named Frederick, Louise, Bethany, Christopher, and Logan were backstage putting on their Grave Peril t-shirts and protective gear. Christopher said, "Can't you believe this? I signed up to be on television, and I have to participate in a game show? That sounds like a great plan." "Chill out, dummy," Louise replied. "It's all part of the TV show. Besides, if I win the grand prize, that's a fair chance for me." Frederick said, "I have never participated in a game show before. I took an audition, and now I am in one of them." Logan said, "I've seen this game show on television before. I was thinking maybe I would be able to participate in this show. Now that I have it, I am sure to win the grand prize." Bethany asked, "What's that?" Logan said, "I am not sure yet, but they will announce it when we get to the finale." Frederick said, "Whatever it is, I am determined to win." Christopher said, "It's not about winning or losing. It's about the competition, the challenges, and the skill. I honestly don't care if I lose or win. I am here to play in this game show." The announcer said, "Attention all contestants. Please report to the stage in about 5 minutes. Once again, please report to the stage in 5 minutes. Thank you." 5 minutes later, as they got on the stage, the show was about to begin. There, stage audience members cheered on as the show had begun filming. The announcer says, "Welcome to Grave Peril, where the race to escape the graveyard is on. And now, your host of mayhem, the guy who had risen from the tombs of the cemetery, Jason Gravestone!" The host appears from backstage wearing a navy blue sports jacket with a brown tie, a white button-down shirt, khakis, and black shoes. He even held a microphone in his right hand. Jason said, "Hello, and welcome to our Friday the 13th special of Grave Peril, where our lucky contestants will have to face many challenges to escape this haunted graveyard for some scary good prizes. For today's contestants, we have Frederick from Michigan, Logan from North Carolina, Christopher from Illinois, Bethany from Massachusetts, and Louise from Maine." The contestants ran up in front of the cemetery gates to begin their first challenge. "Okay," said Jason, "this is the first challenge you will be taking. All you have to do once you enter through the gates is to find 6 symbols and figure out the secret combination to unlock the door to the mausoleum. They are hidden somewhere in these coffins, but be warned, some of them might have corpses inside of them that can come to life and scare you. Figure out the combination and you will proceed to the next challenge. More challenges will follow. Complete them all, and you might win a grand prize or many other prizes. Are you ready?" Bethany said, "I sure am." The cemetery gate doors opened as the lights turned purple and blue, signaling that the challenge was about to begin. "Go!" yelled Jason. The contestants scrambled through every coffin to see if there was a symbol inside of the 6 coffins. Logan opened the first one to find a skeletal corpse wearing a tuxedo that sat right up and screeched to scare him. It was only an animatronic, so it laid back in its coffin. Logan closed the door. "Looks like Logan was scared with fright after a skeleton decided to play a joke on him," said Jason. "Hey Logan, keep searching for the symbols." Christopher had found a symbol of a crow with glowing red eyes in a circle. It was carved and made of stone. Bethany found a symbol of a withered tree with a storm cloud. Logan found one with a skull with a cane and a top hat. As soon as the other symbols had been found, one more was still inside one of these graves. Frederick was about to grab the last one, but a skeleton was holding it. It was a silhouette of a black cat and a jack-o'-lantern. As he grabbed the symbol with no trouble, the animatronic skeleton rose up and tried to grab him. Jason said, "Uh-oh, Frederick, the skeleton wants to give you a hug." Frederick pushed the skeleton back into its grave and ran to the wall, where they tried to find the secret code to unlock the door. He only received a scratch from the skeleton, so he was okay. "That was a close call, Frederick," said Jason. "Now try to figure out the code to unlock the door." It only took them a few seconds to figure out the code. As they got the correct one, the door was unlocked, and the challenge was finished. But before they went in, the skeleton animatronics malfunctioned and rose up from their coffins and tried to attack them. The studio technicians tried to turn them off, but they were attacked by the skeletons. The 2 technicians were okay and did not suffer any injuries, but only one of them had to be taken to the hospital for medical treatment. Jason said, "We may have faced a few errors for our first challenge, but I can assure you that in this second challenge, there will be nothing too dangerous. You're going to be answering a few questions from Jeffrey Bones." Jeffrey Bones was an animatronic skeleton with a bow tie, black pants, a gray sports coat, and a top hat. Jason said, "Only 4 of you will be able to continue the game if you get all questions correct. For every question you answer correctly, you will be climbing down 1 step. There will be at least 5 steps. We will keep the questions going until at least the remaining 4 reach the next challenge. Take it away, Jeffrey Bones." The animatronic skeleton started up.
"To proceed to the next challenge, you must answer my questions to you,"
said Jeffrey Bones.
"Only the worthy 4 who answer correctly will reach the end. Shall we begin?"
Christopher said, "I think I am prepared for this. I know I can get these answers right." They then began to answer a few questions, which were based around pop culture and movie trivia. Some contestants got some of them right. Only a few answered some of the questions incorrectly. Time passes by quickly, and by the time the remaining 4 made it to the end after answering the final questions, Jeffrey Bones started to glitch and started to shoot fire from his eyeballs. It then fell off to the bottom, where the remaining 4 were standing, but it only landed in front of them. Just then, red water came leaking out of the animatronic, while cockroaches and snakes came out of its mouth. They also attacked the nearby staff. Luckily, they managed to get the snakes off in time. 3 of the remaining staff members were okay. Only one of them was bitten by the snake and was taken to the hospital to receive treatment. The contestants were lucky that the snakes did not attack them. However, the producers did not care about what happened and decided to continue with the game as if it never happened. The producers quickly told the contestants that because of the waivers they had signed, they would not be held liable for any damages. Surely, after the cockroaches and snakes were taken out of the studio, the staff checked on the Jeffrey Bones animatronic to see what caused this to happen. They find that the animatronic wasn't tampered by anyone. Even the security footage could not capture the culprit behind this. They thought that one of the producers did this as a prank. Louise, Christopher, Bethany, and Frederick were the only 4 contestants left in this game show. As soon as the next challenge began, the host started to talk again. "Even though we may have a few superstitions going on," said Jason, "the show must go on. The next challenge you will be taking is simple. All you have to do is go through 3 mazes. Each will contain a piece of a statue that you will need to put together. If 3 of you make it out of the mazes with all the pieces of the statue, you will put them together to unlock the door to the final challenge." "Ready?" Louise said. "Well, yes," replied Louise, "but what will happen to the snakes and cockroaches?" "Don't worry about them," said Jason. "We released them outside. Anyways, let's begin." The contestants went through all of the mazes in a desperate attempt to find the pieces. They had only hit a few dead ends along the way. Louise found the first piece of the statue, which was the head. When they went to the second maze, Bethany ran through the maze until she had found the base of the statue. She noticed a shadowy figure behind her. In its hand was a hook. It also wore a fisherman's outfit and a fishing hat. She could not find the fisherman anywhere. "That's odd," said Bethany. "Why would there be a fisherman in this game?" "I'm assuming that it is part of the animatronic corpses from the first challenge. In the last and final maze, they had to avoid so many dead ends before finding the final piece of the statue. As soon as the last one was found by Christopher, they tried to put together the statue to open the door. Suddenly, the shadowy figure of the fisherman appeared again, but this time, the contestants didn't take any notice. "That's funny," said Jason. "We don't remember having a fisherman here before." "Oh well, he's just glad to finally see them win the challenge." When they put the statue together correctly, the door opened, leading them to the final challenge. "Wow," said Jason. "Unbelievable! You 3 made it through the challenges. There is only one more challenge to go. You have to go through many obstacles to escape the graveyard. For the first one, you have to cross the bridge over a lake of lava. The second one is to go through a tunnel of fog. But be careful, there are spiders in there." "I hope they are not real ones," said Christopher. Jason said, "The third obstacle is the quicksand pit. To get across, you will need to hop on a few stones." The quicksand was basically a foam pit. Jason said, "For the fourth one, you will be dodging a few zombies that will try to eat your brains. And for the final course, you will need to run through a tilting bridge across the deep and dark abyss. If you get out of the graveyard first, you will win a grand prize to San Francisco. The second prize will be a portable gaming device and a portable cassette player for those who got out second and third." Christopher said, "Let's do this! I'm pretty sure that nothing bad will ever happen to me," said Louise. You've got 3 minutes, starting now, said Jason. As the contestants ran, they managed to cross the bridge over lava without failing. They then ran through a tunnel of fog where the fake spiders tried to scare them, but they were just brave. As 2 contestants got out of the fog tunnel, one vanished. Jason said, "Huh? Where did Louise go?" Christopher and Bethany were the only contestants left. Bethany crossed the quicksand pit as she stepped on one of the stones. Christopher was also successful. When they came across the 4th obstacle, they dodged all the zombies they could. But unluckily for Christopher, a fisherman from the 3rd challenge grabbed him and took him somewhere backstage. Christopher uttered a blood-curdling scream. The audience was shocked at what was going on and fled out of the studio in a panic. Bethany stopped running as she made it through the final course of the challenge. Minutes later, the cops were called for an investigation. Bethany had to leave the studio as she was grossed out by what just happened. The police had found the bodies of the 2 missing contestants. They were skeletons that wore the Grave Peril t-shirts and protective gear. The bodies were taken to the hospital for examination. Jason was shocked at what just happened to the contestants. No winners were announced in this 13th episode. The episode was eventually taken off the air as a result of the incident. They then soon realized that one of the skeletons they made into an animatronic was a real one. They had used the corpse of a fisherman named Salmon Joe, who had died in a tropical storm near the Pacific Ocean in 1936. The studio made a decision to abandon the show and locked the props away in a nearby prop room. This is where the tape of the 13th episode stayed. Back to present day. The manager said, "Now you know what happened back then. I must advise you that you do not reveal any contents of the tape to the media, as this will upset some people. We need to keep this a secret. I will let you keep this tape for now." The staff member left his office as he held the VHS in his hands. As he went home for the night, he sat down on the sofa in his living room and watched some television. He placed the VHS of the 13th episode on the coffee table. As he tuned into the news channel, they announced that a skeleton of the fisherman from Grave Peril had been sighted in the studio where the show had taken place. It had been abandoned for some time now. They were unable to know whether or not this was intended to be a prank, or that they forgot him and left them there. Some say that he is a ghost that haunts this studio.